Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Season 22 here in WOR. It is round number 3, and we are here in Monza for tonight's racing. Alongside me here in the commentary box, as always, is Ryan Howe. And how are you doing today?
Good, thanks. I feel like I say this every week. It's probably getting really corny, but looking forward to this track. Always seems to provide some entertainment, especially into turn 1, I think. We might see some carnage today.
Yeah, we will talk about the track a little bit more in just a few moments. Just a quick look at the standings as they are right now. Leonard is currently leading all the way. A P1 and a P2 to his name puts him in the lead. 17 points clear of the next closest challenger, although Jeremy Gallonier, who has now moved up to Tier 2, currently sitting second in the standings with 31 points to his name. Vettel in 4th, having a very strong race last time out. Nico Rasenberg in 5th, Victor Garcia, Nathan Pillane, Invasizo, Lawrence Patton and Pesci rounding out the top 10 as it stands. I think things still looking pretty close though as it stands with the Drivers' Championship.
I would agree. I mean, obviously it's a big gap up at the front, which I think obviously kind of caused by Jeremy Gallonier. You know, his dominance in the first race and then charge through the field, which I think there were some incidents surrounding his push through the field last week as well. But as well, it's only been 2 rounds. Obviously, everything is still going to be really close. It's what you'd expect this early on. I'd be surprised if it's any wider than it currently is.
Yeah, and just a quick look at the constructors' standings as we will be heading very soon over to the track. Red Bull currently leading the way on 43 points, despite having one of their drivers with a double DNF to start things off. Aston Martin second, Ferrari, Racing Bulls, Mercedes, McLaren, Sauber, Williams, Alpine and Haas. The current standings for the drivers at the moment, but we are going to have to very quickly jump over in just a second. We'll quickly look at the calendar as well for you. We are currently in round 3 here in Italy. We've got Saudi Arabia next week, Mexico City, Canada, Austria, Bahrain, well, that could become Miami, China and Sao Paulo to round out the running for this season. And we are very quickly going to jump our way over to the game now, as I believe we have got a couple cars making their way out onto the track.
Yeah, we can do our track guide on board with someone, I'm sure. But we have got 3 cars very close together going through the Della Roggia chicane now. There's Nico Rasenberg, Pesci, and I think, is that Nathan Pillane? Yes, it is. So they're all very close together at the minute. And yeah, just waiting now for drivers to get to their laps.
Yep, just quickly before we do get into the session, if you do have any predictions for who is going to take pole position or for the victory here tonight as well, make sure you throw them into the live chat. Always interesting to see what people are thinking here. I think based on current form, though, you have to say, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, our championship leader not racing here tonight. It's definitely going to be tough. Tom97 was showing some strong pace in the race last time around, although qualifying not really his strong point, I think.
No, he's had great race pace both in Las Vegas and Silverstone, but as you mentioned, it has been the qualifying pace that has let him down so far this season. He's constantly been fighting his way through the field, although didn't stop him from getting P2 last week, did it?
No, certainly not, but we have got Nico making his way around. He's the first driver out on a lap. A couple more drivers joining him on push laps now as well, as we have most of the drivers. In fact, all but Vettel out on the track at the moment, looking to get some laps in here. 15 minutes left to go in this qualifying session as the drivers make their way through. Still plenty of time. I don't think Vettel will be too worried. In fact, he is actually heading out onto the track now as well. We've got 19 drivers in the lobby as well, so almost a full grid here for the runnings tonight. Nico Rasenberg making his way under the bridge through Sector 2. 51.5 is the split. We'll have to wait and see how that compares to others. Tim Tormano currently with the purple first sector, though, about half a tenth faster than Nico Rasenberg managed, who was the next fastest through that first split, making our way down towards the Parabolica now. Flick the car in, barely even braking into this corner. Such is the speed you can carry through with these modern F1 cars, making his way up towards the line now. And the first lap of qualifying is a 1:17.490. Already a very competitive time there from the McLaren driver.
Yeah, very competitive, 1.1 ahead of the next challenger as well. Pesci slots in with an 18.2. Next over the line is going to be one of the Red Bulls. It's going to be Tim Tornamo with a 17.8, still 4/10 off. Tom97 has invalidated. He's not going to be the next one over the line. Then we've got an Aston Martin starting a lap. That is Lawrence Patton. But the other Sauber of Thomas Balcher coming over the line now. And it's a 1:17.9 up to P3. The Williams of Liam Doherty now the Scotsman managing to go with a 1:17.8 up into P2, which is very good qualifying pace compared to what we've seen so far from him this season. Start just about getting ahead and into P2 as Invasizo sets an 18.3. Umut goes P2 with a 17.7. Next over the line is going to be the Mercedes of Kevin Vest with a 17.8. And we've got the Red Bull of AMS Josh with a 17.8. And then I think both Hasses invalidated. Myth with a 17.8 as well. So a lot of 17.8 so far. Victor Garcia 17.6 up into P2. And I think we are seeing quite a few invalidations around this circuit.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my timing right now. I can see 5 drivers who are on invalid laps at the moment. Some of those might be in laps right now, but it does seem that the track limits are going to be something to catch the drivers out, especially the Ascari chicane. I think is a really big one. The drivers are going to have to push this chicane they're coming into here as well, the Roger chicane. Another one where you really have to push up to those limits and see how far you can really get to those white lines, try and cut it as tight as you can. But yeah, as you said, a lot of drivers in those 17.8s. I think we're going to see improvements on that later down the line, but it's very similar to what we saw in Vegas, where so many drivers are at that pretty much exactly same pace point. So many drivers, those thousandths of a second are going to really matter. One small mistake could be the difference between starting, say, 3rd or starting outside the top 10 here, and we've seen how detrimental that can be to your race.
Yeah, I mean, it's currently 7 drivers, I've counted, that are in the 17.8. We see if Justin Ertz can make it another. No, he can't. He's on an in-lap. So that just leaves now Chris's Pilakouris, but he has invalidated his first lap in WOR. You mentioned the Ascari chicane and De La Rocha chicane as invalidation points, but also I think Curva di Lesmo and Curva di Alboreto are, crunch points as well. You know, a lot of drivers running it out wide on the exit of, well, what otherwise known as the Parabolica, and also especially the exit of Lesmo through turn 7. That is also quite easy to invalidate on the exit there.
Yeah, and Tom97 makes his way through the final corner now. I'm keeping an eye on his sector times, looking pretty similar to the Mercedes. We might be seeing another 0.8, and no, he loses a bit of time in that final sector. 0.976 for Tom97. But he only sits a couple of tenths off of the front row of the grid here. Quite a big jump from 1st to 2nd. That same gap, 0.203, would take you all the way down from 2nd to 9th. It's a very big margin that we're seeing there at the front. Nico Rasenberg, I think he said he only actually had 1 session of practice here. Didn't think he would be doing too well tonight. As it stands, I think he will be extremely happy with that lap.
Yeah, I mean, 17.4 at the minute. It's, as you said, over 2 tenths clear of P2. Lawrence Patton has left the session. That's the second disconnect we've had so far. So hopefully no game issues. I do want to draw attention to Azael Vettel, who obviously last week qualified last, ended up finishing 3rd. And once again, he seems to be struggling in qualifying.
Definitely seems that the race is the place where he shines the most. And I mean, obviously, if he was maybe starting further up the field, it might help him out. If he's able to jump up 10 positions, starting down at the back, think what he could do if he's starting up in the top 5 potentially. But yeah, it's always a tough one. Some drivers naturally excel in qualifying, some drivers naturally excel in the race. Some drivers are pretty balanced between the two. And naturally you just have to try and train yourself to get better at the one you slightly lack in, which I think over this season is probably something that Vettel will definitely be working on, trying to extract as much as he can out of that 1 lap pace. Nico Rasenberg seems to be a driver who does quite well to get that 1 lap pace out of the car. He's making his way around, getting ready to start his 2nd run of the session. Myth in the other McLaren holds the purple first sector, and then Rassenberg with purple sector 2 and 3. I think sector 2 primarily is where he's finding most of his time, 3/10 faster than P2 almost there. And yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a point of focus for quite a few of these drivers. Most of the corners, I think, found in that middle sector. You've got the Rod chicane, the 2 Lesmos, and then a long run down that straight. You don't quite get the Ascari chicane there. But definitely an important sector for the drivers, as Rassenberg launching his way over those first few curves. Will get an eye in just a moment to see if he is finding time through this first sector. Sector 1 was the sector where he was probably the weakest of the 3, and through the first sector now he's actually lost a bit of time. 25.839 through sector 1, not exactly ideal. Can he try and make it up in these next 2 sectors?
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye. Obviously, he was quite fast in Sector 1 the first time around, I believe, so it might be difficult for him to improve. We've got some yellow flags. I think that's just people backing up. But Rassenberg now heading down through the Sector 2 split, and he's even further down. He's lost about the same again in the next sector. So, I don't know. We're going to see... It's all down to the Parabolica, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it might just be a case of that was an exceptional first lap, and it's really going to take something special to try and improve on it. As Thomas Bowser jumps up to 4th with a 17.7. Start has crashed on the exit of Ascari. Not sure if we're able to see that here. Unfortunately, the camera angle is not doing us any favours, but I think he's lost it on the exit there. Really unfortunate stuff for the Alpine driver. The fastest 17.8 we have at the moment, but I expect we're probably going to be seeing some improvements from other drivers.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we didn't. As Liam Doherty now coming around the Parabolica. Oh, very wide on in the mid corner there. And yeah, he's abandoned the lap. He clearly lost time. As Invasizo now comes around the final corner, and he's going to set a 17.7 up to P5 for the Racing Bulls car. Next over the line was, I think it was Tim Tornamo, but I think he had invalidated. As now Red Mers over the line with a 17.9. Tom 97 starting. Then we've got AMS Josh over the line, who goes up to P7 with another 17.7. As Nathan Pillane sets another 17.7. So even more close racing, as Victor Garcia goes up to provisional pole with a 1:17.472, 18 milliseconds clear of Nico Rassenberg.
Now the pressure on for the McLaren driver on the second run. He wasn't able to improve. Now he really does have to improve if he wants to secure that pole position. Got the other Mercedes of Kevin West invalidating his lap. No improvement coming on his side of things. Let's see anybody else out there looking to try and finish off their lap. I think Myth in the McLaren making his way down through the first 2 sectors. Will he come across the line to finish this one off? He does, and he jumps himself up to 4th, finding time in the final sector, 17.726. It's a second row as it stands for the McLaren driver. How much more left to be found? I think we've got Justin Ertz as well. The only driver without a time as it stands. Where will this lap put him? 14th fastest at the moment for the Haas driver.
So just looking at it, 4th to 13th, which is 10 cars, is separated by less than a 10th and a half. And Tom 97 jumps up to P4 with a 17.6, so he's found some pace in his lap.
Yeah, pace found for sure for Tom. And I'm just looking, I don't think it was an improvement in the first sector either. 25.871, that's almost 2/10 off the fastest first sector we've seen. I think there's definitely still some time left to be found for Tom here. And very well could be getting himself into contention if he can find that time on his final run. We've got 5 minutes left to go in this session as the timer slowly ticks its way down. Not too many cars out on track at the moment as they're all waiting for those optimal conditions. We've got Lawrence Patton on an out lap. He's a little bit out of sync compared to the rest after that disconnect that he had. See what he can do though. Will he finish off this lap? Does he have enough time to complete this lap, make his way back to the pits and get out for another run? We'll have to wait and see as he now comes down the start finish straight to start another lap.
And yeah, now heading down the Rettifilio, past the pit exit and in towards turn 1. Heavy braking zone, one of the heaviest in F1, just kissing the curbs through the Rettifilio chicane and then on the power towards the third corner, which I've just forgotten the name of. Oh, Curva Grande, that's it, which is slightly banked, so you do want to keep to the inside. Now braking into Rettifilio, hopping over the curbs as much as you can, not really over the second apex, as it is a raised sausage curb, and then turning the car into Curva di Lesmo. Again, banked on the inside, but all the drivers do run out a little bit wider than the banking, and he has run off the road on the exit, and unfortunately that is his lap invalidated, but he should have enough time to come into the pits, get a new set of tyres on, fuel up again, and go once more.
Yeah, it definitely solves the question of whether he would have enough time. I think it would have been very, very tight if he did finish his lap off. 2.5 tenths up, though. That lap was potentially looking for a potential 0.6, I'd say. That was definitely looking to be a strong lap for the Aston Martin driver. And a top 5 start, if he can hook the lap up, still probably not out of the question.
Yeah, and we've got Mercedes now, Kevin Vest, who is rounding the Rettifilio chicane, and now powering under the advertising boards through the Curva Grande, where of course we've seen a lot of crazy moments through there in real life. Gasly's front wing, Norris and Leclerc, and now heading into Della Roggia. He looks to have done it somewhat comfortably there. Now Curva di Lesmo, running wide just within the track limits there through the first part, and now through the second curve he's just got it through, and now down Seraglio towards the Ascari chicane. We'll see, is it nip and tuck through there? He's currently 2.5 tenths up, so this is looking a really good lap for Kevin here, and a lap that could see him potentially up to P3. So Kevin Vest now into the Parabolica. Let's hope he can hold it all together, because this would be a great lap for him after a difficult start to the season. And now Kevin up to the line, and it's a 17.6. It's P4 for the Mercedes.
Lost a little bit of time in that final sector, but definitely a strong running. In fact, compared to his teammate, who holds the purple final sector, he lost 3 tenths there. That could have been an incredible lap, I think, for Kevin West if he had managed to ace that final sector like his teammate did. But in the end, not quite playing out. Gonna sit himself in P4 for the time being. And we wait to see as all the other drivers now make their way out onto the track. 1 minute 50 on the clock. The time will tick down, and everybody going to get themselves ready for their final runs. One car still sitting in the pit lane. That is Star, actually, I think, the retired Alpine. But the 2 McLarens going to be the last drivers to make their way out onto the track. They still have plenty of time left to go. We haven't even hit the mark of 1 lap left on the clock. Still, drivers could theoretically get another lap in, or I think it's only going to be a couple of drivers here who could have a shot at another lap here. But we're making our way round, and we'll jump over to the Alpine of Uppbeat, who currently sits in P7. He is out on what should be his final lap now, I think.
Yeah, Redmers was on a lap, but it seems like he hit traffic and decided better to just abandon his lap than risk pushing through it. Yeah, Uppbeat now is just over half a tenth up in the first sector, which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's a massive improvement, as that would see him up to P5. So the Alpine now through turns 6 and 7 as that's Redmers. So he carried on the lap, it seems, and it's a 1:17.6 there. So he was harvesting through the Lesmos, probably just saving some battery for these straights, and there Uppbeat has invalidated, and that is more than likely his qualifying over. I don't even know if he's got the time to make it to the line here. If he wanted to do another, he might, it'd be a bit of a stretch, but there is a slight chance. It's going to be the Red Bull now of Josh.
He has also invalidated. Those inverses are going to be the next to the line, and I don't think they will get another chance. Not enough battery left in the car anyway, so that is going to be costly for the drivers who have picked up invalidation. There's another one out there as well. But coming across the line in Vasiso, does he improve? He jumps to third with a 17.577 time being found out there for the drivers on their final runs. The Williams of Crisis, he's the other one with an invalidation, not going to be improving on his time. One of the Salvers comes across the line. It's Thomas Bowser who jumps up to fourth. Big improvements being found. Victor Garcia, provisional pole sitter, 10th and a half up through the first 2 sectors. Can he improve at the front? Yes, he can. It's a 17.3. Lost a bit of time there in that final sector. Can anybody try and challenge Nathan Pillane? Jumps to P4 with a 17.5. Now, Tom 97 up to third. He finds a 10th of a second there on his lap as well. All the times are tumbling now as everybody makes their way through. Tim Tormino, does he improve on his time? No, he doesn't. Redmus has invalidated. He won't be improving on his lap. We've got the Aston Martin of Lawrence Patton who makes his way up towards the line. Is it going to be an improvement for him? No, he will start last here tonight. Nico Rassenberg currently sits second fastest. Can he find the improvement he needs? He's just over half a tenth up as it stands, and he will take it by 6,000ths of a second. Nico Rassenberg will snatch pole position away at the last second. 6,000ths of a second, all that was in it. And those 6,000ths came in that final sector.
Yeah, all of that lap for him really was in the final sector there with the improvement. Incredible lap for Nico, who takes his first pole position of the season. Surprised that his teammate wasn't up there with him.
Yeah, unfortunately, invalidation for his teammate. It was an 18.4 that he set, would have put him third fastest. But yeah, couldn't quite keep it within the track limits as Vettel has just disconnected from the session. That is not going to be good signs for the driver who seems to excel in the races. His best start of the season up in P9, and he won't be there to take the start.
No, he's not going to get to pick his strategy. He's not going to get to change his fuel. He's not going to get to change his wing angle if he wanted to. It's a disaster when you disconnect at this point. And remember when Kevin West went up to fourth? He dropped all the way to 10th in those final laps.
Yeah, I mean, it really does show how much improvement there was. Look at the gap between third. I'm just looking. Tom 97, he was 0.183 off. 1/10 of a second back. In fact, not even a 10th of a second back. It's 800ths of a second. Cut you down to P10. There was only 800ths of a second between Kevin West and P3. But he's starting 10th.
Yeah.
Mega
fine
stuff.
Margins, isn't it?
Yeah. It pretty much, exactly.
Yeah, it's less than 100th between everybody on average. And then, of course, pole as well, 6 milliseconds in it. But I think drivers are on the grid now, just sorting out their strategies. I'm hoping Vettel can reconnect for his sake. I don't know if he already has or not. Yeah, should be an interesting start, especially turn 1 Monza.
Yep. Any quick predictions for our race winner before we get things going?
I am just based on drivers' race pace so far this season, I'm going to go with Tom 97. I think his race pace has always been better than his quali, and proportionally, if that is true again today, he should be in with a very strong challenge for the race win.
I have to agree. Unfortunately, you saw the words right out of my mouth. I was also thinking Tom 97. He's finally got that good starting position up there in third. He definitely seems like a strong contender. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out for him. And the battle between Nico and Victor, now that they are into the race, how consistent can they be? Can they keep it together? Are we going to see some interesting battles between the two drivers starting on the front row? It's quite a long run down towards the first corner and a very heavy braking zone as well. Chicane always throwing up a bit of carnage.
I think we'll see at least one of the two of them off on the first lap because they both fight, to the tooth and bone for every position, both of them, and for the lead. And those two together, I'm sure we'll see a little bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, just quickly looking to see. We'll be reading up at 28, which is in a minute and a half's time. I think that was partially just to let Vettel rejoin the session, but shouldn't be too much longer until we do get things going. If you do have any predictions for the win, make sure you throw them into the live chat, and we can have a quick discussion about them potentially as well. But Yeah, very, very interesting stuff here tonight. And
Another thing I'd like to mention is I would not rule the likes of Lawrence Patton out 4 points here. He has always been very strong in their race. Yes, he's made a few mistakes and had a few contacts, but his race pace has always been quite strong. So I wouldn't quite rule him out yet. I think the same with Myth as well. Obviously, he's in a much better position than Lawrence. But I think both of them will be strong contenders for pushing their way up through the field.
yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it's something we've seen while qualifying has been a lot more points. We are actually heading into the race now. We've got the 5 lights on ahead of the drivers, and we are racing here in Monza. Another very, very short hold for the drivers, and Victor Garcia immediately gets the jump on Rasenberg. Not a great start for the McLaren driver. He's already down to second and might be losing even more position, though. He's looking to the inside of Red Bull, off on the grass on the inside further behind as well. But Victor Garcia and Rasenberg run wheel to wheel, 2 by 2 by 2. They all make their way through the first chicane as we now make our way through the curve. Grande Rasenberg with the inside line will take that position back. Infosys fighting Tom 97 here for 3rd place as they make their way down towards the Roger chicane. Tom 97 looking to the inside, trying to fight his way back through, and does get that 3rd position back further behind Myth as well, making up 2 positions on this opening lap, but losing out here as they run 3 wide almost towards the first Lesmo. In fact, Myth dropping all the way back down to P11 where he started and might even lose a position to Kevin West. We've got a Hassoff in the gravel further behind as well. That is Justin Ertz losing out on this opening lap. Not the start that he was looking for, but everybody filing their way through. Pretty decent start to the race here, I think, for most of these drivers. Everybody getting through pretty safely.
It was AMS Josh who was the Red Bull on the grass at the start. He just got pushed onto it, a bit like Max Verstappen this season in real life. And he has then sunk like a stone after that contact, and he's fallen down to P16, potentially going for a move on Star around the outside in the Parabolica. Lawrence Patton also up to P17. He's had a decent start, managed to keep out of trouble. Yeah, Nico Rasenberg leading the way down towards the Rettifilio chicane once more.
Yeah, and in towards the first corner we go. Redmer's looking to the inside here on one of the Saubers, the Red Bull as well. Tim Torno, there's contact!
Big contact!
Very, very big dive from there from Ummert. Contact made Thomas Bowser picked up a 10-second penalty for cutting the first 2 corners, and that is a disastrous moment for the Alpine. I think it was Ummert who just missed his braking point, colliding with a couple of cars there. Hopefully no one's picked up too much damage, but that is costly as they go 3 wide in towards chicane. Myth, Ummert, I think both making contact there as well, heading in towards the Rettifilo chicane. Not a great start to this race for the Alpine driver, who touches the grass on the entry into the Lesmo as well. Now under pressure from Chrysis as they head in towards the second Lesmo. He's down to 13th. Now might be seeing some things from the stewards coming as well. I think Myth might have picked up some illegal overtakes, dropping now down to 14th here on the straight. Not ideal for his race either, in towards the Ascari chicane. All things starting to kick off here as they run side by side and off onto the gravel. Myth getting pushed off by one of the Rebels, Lawrence Patton, involved in this chaos as well as he tries to fight his way through. AMS Josh, the car in front of him, but they run almost 3 wide, maybe even 4. They were considering it, I think, heading in towards the Parabolica. Lawrence to the inside of Star here, losing out down this straight, under pressure from Myth as well, who has dropped like a stone all the way down to 18th. It's still Nico Rasenberg who leads up at the front of the field as he sets the fastest lap of the race, but all the battles taking place down in the back end of the field.
Yeah, they went 3 wide into the Della Rocha chicane, and yeah, that is just where the disaster started for Myth, and then forced off through Ascari as well after contact with Lawrence Patton, and now the 2 of them good friends as well, now side by side through the Curva Grande, trying to get past QRT Star, and it looks like Myth has managed to get ahead of the Alpine.
Well, hopefully things will finally start to calm down for these drivers, fighting for the wooden spoon at the moment down at the back of the field. Not really any points on offer for them, especially if they keep things up like this. I don't think anybody's actually picked up much damage at all there, or going wide. Star losing, I think, the rear a little bit through that corner, had to correct it. Yeah, not ideal for Star, who now drops down to P18. Really starting to struggle in this opening part of this race.
And that, their 3-second time penalty to Lawrence Patton on lap 3. It's just not going well, is it?
No, definitely not. Victor Garcia getting a lot closer to Nico Rasenberg this time around. Only a 10th off as they headed into the Parabolica. This could be his chance to try and retake that race lead that he picked up immediately off the grid down towards turn 1, gaining on the McLaren. Looks to the inside Not going to go for the move this time around, though. We have got more battling down at the back end of the field as Justin Ertz and Star running side by side into the first corner. Very briefly, almost contact made between the pair of them, and as they foul their way through, Star now down to last.
Yeah, there was contact there, superficial though, through turn 1. And just going back to Rasenberg and Garcia, there is no need for Victor to go for the move this early on, especially at Monza, where it'd just be swapping lap after lap, and it would become a game of RNG as to whether or not you stayed ahead in the end. It's better for him to sit behind for now and just stay in the DRS. With the DRS, he shouldn't be attacked by Tom 97 and should be able to easily keep up with his rival in front.
I mean, he's almost pushing the McLaren through. I think he might want to start to get a move on here. Maybe he'll feel he has better pace than Rasenberg. He has been very consistently right on the back of the McLaren driver. This is how the tyres look at the moment. Vettel, Kreisis, Lawrence and Star, the drivers starting on the hards. Everybody else opting for a set of the medium compound tyres here, looking for that undercut. We're probably expecting pit stops somewhere around lap 10 to 12, I'd expect. Maybe someone going to be brave and go for an undercut. Victor is getting a lot closer this time around, once again pulling to the inside, and this time around Victor Garcia will take the lead back from Nico Rasenberg into the first corner of the track. Puts himself back ahead. Let's see what he can do with this pace. Does he have a pace advantage compared to the cars behind him? Can he start to try and break away potentially?
This is either really good news or bad news for Tom 97. Tom will either be hoping that Victor is even slower than Nico, or that he gaps him so much that Nico doesn't get dragged along, as he did seem to be struggling to hang on to the back of Garcia, just sort of floating near the 1 second mark. Yeah, at the minute, he seems to have improved on his pace.
Yeah, currently sitting 0.6 of a second off, hoping probably that he can close in a little bit. He's still under a second off Garcia, though, so no matter what, he will definitely be picking up some DRS as it stands. Rasenberg getting close, heading in towards the Ascari chicane to the back of our race leader as they all file their way through. It's going to be an interesting race for sure, especially if you're one of those cars in that train. I'm looking at the likes of, say, Kevin West, Pesci, even some of the drivers a bit further up. Tim Tormino, maybe you try a bit of an undercut at some point. Go a little bit earlier with your strategy and try and make positions through the train. We've seen it work very, very well for a lot of drivers this season so far as Rasenberg retakes that position heading in towards turn 1. I think we are going to be seeing quite a lot of swapping as further behind. A couple of cars battling away in towards the first corner. The Williams of Kreis is looking to the inside on Vettel, getting very, very close to contact there. Just about keeps his nose clean though. I'm going to be looking for another run here through the curve of Grande. Going to be looking to the outside, which will switch to the inside heading in towards the Roger chicane.
Yeah, I think he's still just holding in there, going to the extreme inside and getting ahead into Della Roggio. They're still side by side. Vettel is forced over the curb, and Crisis is the one who gets the position up into P11. You did mention potentially Tim Tornimo going for an undercut. We did see the other Red Bull driver in Vegas, Lennart Deckers. He pulled, it was quite an early undercut, wasn't it? It was like 3 laps early, but he ended up finishing comfortably second in that race. So I wonder if we could see the same again. Josh has actually pitted.
Yeah, I mean, lap 5, I'm not too sure whether that's a pit stop to go to the end of the race or whether he is planning to do a 2-stop from this point onwards. It would be a very bold strategy to try and do 22 laps on a set of the hard compound tyres in this race. Here comes Victor Garcia once again as Rasenberg saving his battery, chucks it down into none. Victor Garcia says, thank you very much, I'll take that position back, as Pesci looking to get himself through on Reppers as well. There has been a break in the DRS train. Pesci and Reppers battling out the lead of this train, very similar to what we're seeing in our lead train as well. Thomas Bowser with that 10-second time penalty, maybe going to get removed. We'll have to wait and see what's going to come of that. They're going to fight potentially in towards the Roger chicane. Not quite close enough though. Looking for a brief moment like the Sauber would try something there. But yeah, not exactly sure what the entire situation with that penalty will be, whether it will get served by the game or not, and also whether it would be removed. I think it was caught up in the incident with Umut at turn 1 when he ended up escaping, well, going to the escape road to avoid some contact potentially and that's where he picks that up. Up at the front, though, Garcia and Rasenberg still running 1-2 at the moment. Tom 97 has closed in on our leading duo, though, on this lap. He's only 0.4 of a second off the back of Rasenberg as we head through the final corner. Could be a chance to try and close in and maybe start to put some pressure on our leading duo as they head down towards turn 1 once again. I assume this is going to be a similar situation of Garcia saving some battery. Rasenberg will pull on through. Tom 97 a little bit too far back to try and do anything here. We look to the second train as well as Pesci losing the position to the Haas of Redmers in towards turn 1. Nothing he could do there, just holding on to his position ahead of Thomas Bowser at the moment, sitting third in this second train. But as it stands, we're in a bit of a stalemate, I think.
Yeah, it's just going to be the same, really, of the train stopping. Although Kevin West has tried to disprove us here. He has gone for the move on Thomas Balser and gotten ahead into the Della Rocha chicane and up into P9. So after dropping down to 12th at the start, Kevin back up into the points.
Yeah, crucial move for him as well. That car was only going to be a hindrance, really, for him with that time penalty as it stands. So yeah, crucial for him to make that move. And Crisis is also going to go for the move as well with, I don't even know if he had his DRS open at the time, but down towards the Ascaris gate. He finds his way through. Vettel also looking to dive down the inside, but that's too late on the brakes for Vettel. He goes into the side of the Williams, and that is going to be very costly. That sends him tumbling down the order, down to 17th. The driver who looks so strong in these opening few races. This race, things are really starting to unfold for him.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate there for Vettel. It just seems like he got a bit too brave in that scenario. Yeah, that's cost him. He's now down in P17 as Red Mers has pit. So he's going for an early stop. We've got Crisis going for the move on Kevin West and getting up into P8 here, which I think is net P9. We have Red Mers. We'll see where he comes out in relation to AMS Josh. And I think Josh might just have got him here. It's going to be close into turn 1. They are going to be going neck and neck. And yeah, Red Mers gives it up and just lets Josh go through. So I don't know how far off Josh was. In fact, I'll check now, see if he did a wing change.
He was quite a way behind, I think, when he did make that pit stop. I think, if I remember correctly, he had quite a poor start to the race, ended up right down at the back, and I think decided to go for an alternative strategy, although I'm not sure if a lap 5 pit stop is the right call. A star getting past Liam Doherty, heading in towards the Ascaris chicane. Thomas Bowser has picked up another penalty, this time 3 seconds to his name for multiple warnings. Lawrence Patton looking to put some pressure on Umut as well as they head towards the Parabolica. No move coming just yet. Lawrence, another driver who has picked up a 3-second time penalty. And we have got pit stops coming here. Rasenberg, Victor, and Nathan Pillane into the pits. I think a couple more following them in as this pack makes their way past the pit lane. This is going to be interesting for the drivers. Sauer double stack Thomas Bowser with that penalty. Yeah, not too sure what the thought process is there from them. Justin Ertz, the other driver, to make his way into the pits for a change of tyres. All these drivers, of course, starting on the medium compound tyre. And this
Thomas is having to serve that penalty, so he won't be able to get that removed by the stewards. So that's unfortunate for him, and he's also picked up that 3-second time penalty. So yeah, his race in tatters here.
Yeah, and I guess if Josh can get to the end, he is probably right at the front now of that second train of cars, which I think was probably about the fight for, I think, P7. He could still be in a good position if he can get those tyres to the end.
Yeah, it was about P6 or 7 in that fight. And yeah, it's just a question of can the tyres hold on. I mean, who is it that got... Someone got a puncture at Silverstone, I think? Is it Sinan?
Yeah, I think I do remember somebody picked up a puncture there.
And it was one of the early stoppers who did it. So we do have Lawrence Patton getting really close to the back of Kevin Vest now. Heading into Parabolica. Tom 97, Invasizo, Tim Tornamo, they are all into the pits. Pesci into the pits as well. Also Vettel, Kev, Liam. So it's just the hard runners and 2 of the medium runners that have stayed out.
Yeah, and I think crucially as well, We're going to see how powerful this undercut is. Has there been a change in the positions up at the front? I think we are actually going to see some losses of positions potentially. A couple of drivers filing their way out. The two Red Bulls almost running side by side. Tim, probably one of the drivers who has lost out quite a lot here as a result of this. He's now actually behind his teammate as Vettel and Uppbeat battling. Oh, Vettel's off the track. I think there's been a bit more chaos between these two drivers. Really not been their day to day.
No, they've both been a little bit argy-bargy, so I kind of got it wrong with who I expected the argy-bargy to be between. Yeah, Vettel just kind of needs to cool down a bit, it seems. Nathan Pulane has actually jumped both Tom 97 and Invasizo here, so he's up into, I believe this is net P3 now, and Crisis is our on-track race leader at the minute on his debut.
Yep, of course, on the alternative strategy, we'll have to see how that one plays out later on. Can he pull off a strong recovery drive like we saw from Tom 97 back in Vegas? I think we've seen it a couple of other times as well. But drivers have been able to fight their way through the field on the alternative strategy. Got Uppbeat and Myth both into the pit lane. So hopefully that battle can calm itself down before it potentially comes back later on in this race. But we are approaching the halfway point of this race very, very soon. And as it stands, battle's looking very exciting as Tom 97 to the inside, heading in towards the Rettifilo chicane, goes a little bit deep, I think, but holds the car there on the outside. Not quite working out, though, as they make their way in towards turn number 3, now having to drop back behind the Sauber of Nathan Pulane, who has very nearly lost DRS to our top two drivers. In fact, he has now dropped out of that 1 second range. Going to take a big push here as in towards the Roger chicane. Tom 97 thought about a move to the outside. Nathan having to defend his position, but now 1.2 seconds behind the detection point through the next corner. Looking like we could be seeing our top two breaking away very, very soon.
Yeah, this is kind of also bad for Tom 97, as, you know, even when he gets past Nathan Pulane now, which I imagine will probably be down the main straight into Rettifilo, he's going to have to push on a lot to catch up to Nico and Victor. And it's now almost a 2-second gap to those two.
It's unfortunate stuff there for the Ferrari driver, who at one point looked like he could have a really good shot at the win. Might now only be a fight for the podium. Those cars behind, who were in that other train, have now caught up as well. Vettel is coming in, and in fact for a retirement. Leaves the session swiftly as well. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as well. Lap 12 for a pit stop there off the hard compound tyres. Not really what you would have expected. It's almost going 3 wide just for a brief moment there. I think a car may be coming out the pits, or was that Invasizo just putting the pressure on? Yeah, I think Nathan Pulane, without the DRS, left very vulnerable. Tom 97 is now through. 1.5 seconds to catch to Victor Garcia. If he wants to get back into the DRS, Invasizo couldn't quite get the move done, but he is gaining down towards the Roger chicane, looking to the outside. Will switch to the inside through the next corner, but the Sauber carrying the speed through on the entry holds that position up to 7.
Redmond is really licking his lips here in the star-spangled hat, and also Tim Tornamo. So Nathan Pulane, again, he's now a second and a half back from the car in front once more, just because of the fighting.
Yeah, it's really not working out for the Sauber driver. Tom 97 is closing back in, I think, corner after corner, finding that time on the cars in front. But with the DRS, it's so powerful around here, the amount of time he'll be losing down the straights to Victor Garcia. It's really not going to be too great for him.
It will be really difficult for Tom 97 from here. I think he will probably still be happy to hold on to P3. I think he is ahead of both Victor and Nico in the championship anyways. But he would want, ideally, to finish in the top 2 and take the lead of the championship, as Victor Garcia overtakes Nico Rasenberg just with the usual DRS swap for the lead. We do have Tim Tornamo going for the move now on Redmers into the Rettifilo chicane. Can Redmers hang on to this position? No, he can't. Tornamo managed to get the better run on the exit, and now through the Curva Grande, it's the Red Bull ahead of the Haas.
Yeah, and crucial moves. When you are stuck at the back of a train, you've got to make sure you make your moves as efficiently as you can. It's really your best opportunity. Tom 97 now 1.7 seconds off our leaders with that swap of DRS down the start-finish straight. It really does help them, and I think if we see another swap similar to that, that gap is just going to increase lap after lap. If we just look at the gap between Victor and Tom, the two cars without the DRS, that gap is about 2.5 seconds now.
Yes, at this level as well, Tom and Victor are so even on pace, it's going to be quite difficult for either of them to make any inroads, but if anything, easier for Victor in the clearer air to try and bridge the gap. Sorry, build up the gap. Yeah, extend is the word I'm looking for. That took me way too long. But
Yep.
Lawrence is in.
Going a little bit early. He doesn't want to lose too much time with the undercut. I think he was very close to actually being caught by Garcia and Rasenberg, as they have been slowly but surely catching up. It's only 4 seconds to start up the road, another 6 to Kreises in the Williams. I don't think he will be caught by the time he makes his pit stop. But looking at the lap times last time around, they were about 2 seconds faster, were Rasenberg and Garcia compared to start in the Alpine. Lawrence feeds himself out down in P17. It's going to be a long fight through the field if he wants even a shot at points, and he's carrying a 3-second time penalty, which is not going to be helping him out tonight.
I think this is about when you'd expect the hard runners to pit, because, you know, those who start on the mediums did about 10 laps at most, I think it was, 10 or 11 laps. And that's on, you know, the higher race starting fuel and doing the race start, which puts more load on the tyres anyway. So I think, 13 laps should be easy. Well, easy enough for Lawrence. Not saying it's going to be easy. Oh, and he gets another 3-second time penalty. So I believe that's what they call the commentator's curse.
Yeah, just running a little bit wide there through the second Lesmo, and unfortunately 6 seconds now for Lawrence. He will be losing time to everybody with his time penalty rather than just the drivers without penalties at the moment, because he has got the most penalties of everybody else. With penalties currently sitting on a 3-second time penalty. Rasenberg now only 2.5 seconds or so off of the traffic in front of him. It's only one car. We have, got Nathan getting himself through with the DRS up into P6. But maybe, I'm just looking as well, Tom 97 has closed in quite a lot. I don't think Garcia was able to make the move down the straight. He just sat behind and charged his battery. Crucially for Tom 97 now, though, they're going to be catching traffic soon, which might disrupt the flow of the train, and he's a little bit closer once again. There's a chance that he might still be able to get himself back into contention here.
I want to draw attention to this lovely train of blue shades that we've got going towards Della Roggia chicane, and now through it. Yeah, it's a big group of cars there for this stage of the race, especially to be so far off the back. None of them running in the points.
Yeah, this is the fight for P11 as it stands. A 2-second gap between this train and the points as it stands. Well, I guess they would gain the position on Josh with his 3-second time penalty. So this is the fight for a lovely single point as it stands. And at the moment, that award would be going to Pesci.
Yeah, Grice is coming in as well. He'll probably filter out into that train, if not slightly behind it. But yeah, not going to be the easiest now, as Imbeciso gets up into P5 and is now ahead of Nathan Pillane once more. I think this is net P4 as well. Actually, to be fair, I think Crisis is going to come out in the middle of the train. So, certainly going to add a level of spice to this. Oh, he moved over in front of Lawrence, and there's contact! Contact there between Crisis Pilakouris and Lawrence Patton. And that has probably spelt the end of that Aston Martin's race.
Yeah, really unfortunate stuff there. This lap is crunch time for Tom 97. Rasenberg has caught up to the back of the Alpine. Rasenberg maybe going to try and use the DRS to slingshot himself and get the position, get a car between himself and Garcia. And Tom 97 now has Lawrence picking up a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. Not too sure what's gone on there. But this lap is going to be so important for Tom 97. This next set of corners, can he try and sneak himself back within that 1-second range? He is really pushing it. Hopefully he saved his battery for this run down towards Ascari, towards the Parabolica, sorry. Doesn't look like, even with the traffic, he's going to get it just yet, unless he can have a sensational run through the Parabolica. I think he will just about get the DRS. It's going to be so close here as Star peels into the pit. Tom 97 might have just about got the DRS, and he has. He's into the DRS with our leaders now, but he's got to push on this lap if he wants to keep himself in the DRS. I'm not sure if he's got too much battery left. Rasenberg gets himself tucking back in behind Garcia, not quite able to stay there with the Mercedes driver in towards that corner. Herbert's retiring from the race, really not been his day, as does Lawrence Patton as well. Third retirement, double DNF for Aston Martin as well. Unfortunately, though, for Tom 97, although he did pick up DRS at one brief moment, he's back to 1.3 behind again. He's not exactly doing very well to keep up with our leaders as it stands.
Yeah, it just seemed like he couldn't hold on down the straight. With Victor swapping with Nico, they managed to just about bridge that gap again. And they are sort of working together here to try and keep the Ferrari at bay. But further down the pack, that train that we assumed was for nothing is now actually for P8 after the final pit stops.
Yeah, and that is really going to spice things up a bit. There's 3 drivers in this train who will be picking up points. Crisis is already in P10 as well. He's got only 2 cars to overtake to get to the front of this train. Then he'll have some clean air, and then he's into the battle for 4th, which we can see just in front of us here as they make their way in towards the Parabolica. He is in quite a strong position as it stands, is the Williams driver.
Wait. Star's gone on to another set of hards.
Oh no. That is very unfortunate.
Oh dear.
Any chances, I think, of them fighting their way back through into the points, although very slim already, I think are completely out the window because they have got to make another pit stop before the end of this race. Unfortunate stuff there for the Alpine driver. I expect just a small...
Tom's back in.
Yes.
Tom's right there.
I think there was some more battling between Rasenberg and Garcia through the first few corners. And as you have correctly said, Tom 97 is now well and truly within this DRS. He's under a second off of our race leader. And it's very much the situation we had right at the start of this race. It's now potentially going to become a 3-car battle. Although Tom's struggling down the straights, I'm not sure. He hasn't got his battery turned off. Either he wouldn't even be out of battery.
It looked like a bad exit.
Yeah, I don't know if he's just running higher wings potentially than the rest of the drivers. Maybe he's trying to capitalise in the corners because everybody's going to be gaining so much down the straights. Maybe his engine's overheating a bit. He is pulling out of that slipstream. But yeah, very interesting stuff from Tom 97. He does seem to be struggling on the straights. Even when he did have the DRS, he lost 3/10 down this start finish. We'll keep an eye on the gap and see if we're going to see a similar sort of story. It was about 6.5 tenths at the start of the straight. This time around, not losing as much, but he has lost a little bit of time to the cars in front.
He is overall losing time down every straight. And in fact, closing in as well is this fight for P4. Invasiza has been putting his shift in here, and he is massively gaining on this group that are currently sitting in the podium places.
Yeah, the last time around, 23.5 for Tom 97, 23.7 for Garcia. That was where the time loss really was, I think, because Rasenberg was a second faster on the last lap. I think it was Garcia dropping back that allowed Tom into the DRS. 22.0 for Invasizo, and he doesn't have DRS. He was 1.5 faster than Tom 97, who did have DRS. And yeah, that is incredible times. I'm not sure whether he dumped his battery to try and close themselves in a little bit, but as it stands, he is starting to catch up a little bit.
I don't think he'd dump his battery, given that he's got a train of 3 cars behind him as well. So, and I don't think the risk versus reward, going to P3 or holding on to the 12 points for P4, I don't think it would be worth it. So I think that is just pure pace from Invasizo.
This time around, just looking at the times, a lot slower than he was on the previous lap, unless I misread it. He has lost a little bit of time, though, to Tom 97 in front, but the gap's staying pretty consistent as it stands.
Yeah, and there's not much that Tom can do at the minute. He's kind of stuck in this DRS train. Ryan Roberts, right? I don't know.
I think you might have found the wrong lobby. I can't remember if he's tier 2 or tier 3. I'd assume he's in tier 2, but yeah, I think he might have accidentally joined the wrong lobby there. His race will be starting in a couple of minutes, and once this race has concluded, we will be heading over to the tier 2 stream as well, so you can see how they are getting on, who is stacking up well in that
tier. Up right this week.
Yes, I definitely have set it up right this week. I don't think it worked last week, but it should almost certainly work this week. Tom 97.
Look how close Tom is.
Yeah, he's getting closer lap after lap to the back of Garcia, and he will know there's a chance for the win here tonight. He will know that the cars behind are closing in, and he will know very soon he's going to have to make the move on the Mercedes, a tenth of a second off the back as they make their way through the Parabolica. Will he have the battery ready to dump down towards turn 1 and try and make a move here on Victor Garcia? This is going to be a crucial moment here. Tom 97, 2/10 off the back of the Mercedes, gaining towards turn 1. Garcia covers the inside, holds onto that position for the time being. Tom just having to sit behind. Kreiser's with the fastest lap of the race. He is going quite considerably faster than the cars around him. 4 seconds until he'll be onto the back of the train, which right now is a P4, but very soon could be the train for the win. They are catching up by a couple of tenths a lap, but if they can put together some strong laps and maybe some mistakes for the leaders, there's a chance that they could get themselves into contention. Kreiser about 2 seconds a lap faster. Start going even faster, unfortunately, though, sits a long way off the back. I think at this moment, just hoping and praying that a safety car might come to aid them to gain a couple positions off the time penalties.
I mean, I doubt we'd get a safety car at this point. There's been quite a bit of carnage, and only as much as a yellow flag. No VSC is nothing at the minute, but yeah, let's not rule it out. Obviously, it gets quite heated around Monza, fighting for the win. But yeah, Tom 97 in the Ferrari at Monza for his, I want to say, first Tier 4 win, I think it would be. Yeah, it would be quite something.
Yeah, not entirely sure on that. We'll have to have a look at that later on. But Inversizzo is closing in the gap now, 1.3 seconds between Tom 97. It has gone up a little bit down this straight as they're all deploying their battery up at the front of the field. But yeah, Inversizzo is really putting a shift on here. Last time around, gained another 2/10 on the leading cars. He definitely could be on the scene come the final lap of this race.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. And that would apply so much more pressure to the likes of Tom 97 and Victor Garcia. It would sort of be a blessing for Rasenberg, wouldn't it? Because the drivers behind are then under, you know, as I mentioned, much more pressure, but it might also make them a bit more lunge happy.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes the best form of defense for a driver is going to be attack, and that's really going to apply to Tom 97. If Inversizzo does show up later on, he's going to have to think about the attack on the Mercedes of Garcia if he wants a chance to hold on to that position, because if Inversizzo is going to come through for a podium position, you want to make sure you're in second so that you aren't dropping down to fourth when that move does eventually come. But yeah, Rasenberg probably in the strongest position, I would say, despite not having any DRS. He's just able to manage this race how he wants to. Everybody behind just has to sit behind and watch. And as you say, Inversizzo has just snuck into the DRS. He's dropped back out of that 1 second, but the rear wing is open. And that is the crucial thing for the V-Carb driver, who now has a lifeline thrown to him as Nathan was getting oh so close. Heading to turn 1, he wanted that move this lap around, hoping that the V-Carb driver wouldn't get DRS and could slingshot himself into the podium fight. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for Nathan this time around, though. He didn't have the DRS advantage, and as a result, he sits in P5 and now has even more moves to make if he wants to try and hang on to a decent result.
Yeah, Nathan as well with that 3-second time penalty. Not sure if you mentioned that just then. Yeah, so that's going to see him drop behind Tim Tournament potentially by the end of this race. Even Crisis Pilacuris, who is still on a charge, has caught plenty of time to Redmers there. He's ahead based on the penalty. Obviously, we could see a penalty for Crisis with the contact at turn 1 between himself and Lawrence, but you know, that's not for us to worry about in the moment. Victor is getting ever closer to Rasenberg and slowly just making the gap to Tom 97 a bit more comfortable. Not that it is.
Yeah, definitely would not want to be the likes of Tom 97 at this moment. It's going to be such a tricky decision on how you use that battery. It's 3 laps of racing left to go here at the Temple of Speed. Rasenberg currently leading, Garcia closing in once again towards turn 1, starting to put a bit more pressure on. And you can see a bit further behind Kreises in that Williams. He is charging through on those medium tyres, but they are going to be starting to pass their best. Already 8 laps completed on those tyres. As we make our way through turn 1 here further behind, this is Justin Ertz, Pesci and Myth battling for the final points position. Contact between Pesci and Myth. They make their way through turn number 3. They keep battling away. This is the fight with that penalty for Justin. These two really need to find that track position in towards the Roger chicane. Myth with the inside line, going to go late on the brakes, try and squeeze its way through. Can't quite get it done there. Pesci sticks the nose, and now Liam Doherty as well getting involved. Pesci is through. Doherty still having to sit behind.
Yeah, Williams having a much better race this time around than last. Of course, they had that synchronised spin through turn 5, which was probably their highlight of the race last week. But yeah, it's mainly between Pesci and Myth here for the point. Liam Doherty will be looking to try and just pick up the scraps from this battling. Yeah, attention back to the front for the penultimate time. Well, into turn 1, the penultimate time. As yeah, I think Tom 97 probably going to start burning the battery to try and get past Victor Garcia here. Invasizo, I just don't think he's in a position to.
Oh, Tom's deep!
Although Tom 97's had a big lockup. Big lockup there. 3-second time penalty for Tom 97. And that mistake undoes all of his hard work from the last 25 laps. And there. Oh, contact as well. Forced off onto the grass by Nathan Pillane. 2 drivers here with time penalties. And that looks like Invasizo is going to be on the 3rd step of the podium here as it stands. I wonder, Victor Garcia has probably saved up a lot of battery to try and go for the move into turn 1 on the final lap. Those Tom 97 still going for it here with Nathan Pillane. Hits the grass again there, but manages to get ahead and up into P4 on track. But as it stands, that is going to be P6.
Such an unfortunate penalty for Tom 97 to pick up. The win was potentially on the cards with a bit of chaos. Tim Tornamo into the final corner, looking to the inside here on Nathan Pillane as well, hoping that if there's some chaos in front, he might be able to pick up a podium position here tonight. But we are starting the final lap here. One more run. 3.6 miles left to go here at the Temple of Speed, and down towards turn 1, the best overtaking chance probably on the cards, and Victor Garcia will look to the outside. Rasenberg late on the brakes, goes deep into the first corner. Is there a chance that with a better run for Victor Garcia to try and challenge down towards the Roger chicane? He's about 2 tenths behind as it stands, tucked up in the slipstream. They'll be burning their batteries. Rasenberg is saving at the moment, saving for the final 2 straights to come with the DRS down towards Ascari and the run towards Parabolica. All the while, they just wait and wait for this battle to unfold. It's not a great exit out of the Roger chicane for Victor Garcia. That could be what seals the deal here tonight. 4 tenths of a second behind as they make their way into the second Lesmo, pushing right up to the limits. 3 tenths of a second now as they open the DRS. 2 more runs left to go. Full throttle all the way we will go. And the gap is coming down in towards the Ascari chicane to the outside. Victor Garcia will look once again. He touches the grass. Rasenberg, excellent defense here as they make their way through. Just the run towards the Parabolica. 1 more dab of the brakes, and that will be him home and free. The gap is still coming down. Victor Garcia tucked up into the slipstream. Into the final corner we go, side by side between the top 2. Victor Garcia looking for the switchback and the run to the line. Is he going to get close enough as they make their way towards the checkered flag? It's going to be Nico Rasenberg who takes it by less than 1/10 of a second. Victor Garcia just missing out there. By the time they get there, the run was not quite enough. Further behind, more battling happen as they make their way to the line. Pesci just about picking up that final points position. And once again, we have a gap, 5 thousandths of a second. This time not for the podium positions. But once again, we're seeing incredibly close finishes here in WOR.
That was a testament to defensive driving there from Nico Rasenberg. Everything he did on that final lap was perfect. And yeah, a deserved win.
Incredible, incredible stuff. Battling all the way to the line. Through the final corner, he took the inside line every single chance he got, and it paid off handsomely for the German driver. He takes his first win of the season here, and a very well-deserved victory as well. Took pole position by the finest of margins, 8 thousandths of a second. Takes the win by less than 1/10 as well. Nico Rassenberg coming home with the win. Victor Garcia in second, and we had Invasizo in third place as well. Tim Tornamo just missing out on the podium. He comes home in fourth position. Crisis managed to recover all the way to P5 as well, helped by some of those time penalties, of course, but a really, really incredible recovery on his debut. He started down in P17. Tom 97 in sixth, unfortunately picked up that penalty on the penultimate lap of the race, really unfolding what could have been a great battle, three-way battle potentially for the win. Then we had Nathan Redmus, Kevin West and Pesci rounding out our points finishers. Myth, Liam, Justin, Thomas Bowser, AMS, Josh and Star. The rest of our finishers, then we had Lomas, Umut and Vettel, are retirees from this race. But I have to say, once again, an incredible race here tonight. And yeah, amazing stuff once again. Let's see who we have got, if we will be getting anyone for an interview in just a moment. But once again, we're seeing another incredible race. It feels like every single race, it doesn't matter which track we head to, it just seems to deliver every single time. But yeah, just wait and see who we have got. But yeah, really great stuff from Rasenberg and Garcia all throughout that race. They were together pretty much the entire time. But let's see who we have got, if we will get anybody.
What does just when the others want to do mean?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what that meant. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that race, who would you say would you try with the debut? I mean, it was such an interesting race. There were so many drivers who kind of came out of nowhere, I think, at the end as well. But yeah, I mean, I think Rasenberg definitely one of the strong contenders, just given how well he drove that race.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, towards the end, definitely seemed in control of it, and I think just that show defensive driving. Yeah, it was incredible. He didn't put a foot wrong, it seemed, either, did he? So, another shout would be Invasizo, especially with his pace at the end. But yeah, I'd go with Rasenberg.
Yeah, I think Invasizo is definitely another great shout. Came from 3 seconds back to reconnect the train and get himself... it wasn't in the end the fight for the win. He was about half a second off. But it got himself to put pressure on the podium fights. And as a result, Tom 97 making that mistake. So yeah, he's definitely probably one of the contenders as well.
It looks like we've got Nico and Inver. Nico does want to apologise and say that his English isn't the best. I think Inver has said the same thing. Yeah, he did say he doesn't want to do it on his own.
Yeah, we can get them both in at the same time if they want. We'll just check.
Oh, it's Thunderino. Crisis.
That maybe. I
think it is.
Yeah, we have got Nico in the interview chat, so we can drag him in quickly. Hello, Nico.
Hello.
So picking up victory the first time here this season. A very interesting battle, I think, from your side, fighting all the way through that one. How are you feeling, first and foremost?
Yeah, first of all, I'm very happy. I wasn't expecting to win this, especially because I had no practice. Like one session before, it's no practice for me. So yeah, my quali lap was okay, not the best lap to be honest. But yeah, in the race, controlled the whole race and had a nice battle with Victor. And yeah, I was struggling a bit with the tires because we had to save. This track is so, yeah, you get so much percent and yeah, you need to save tires when you want to win. So I was like on 84 on last lap and I had to battle against Victor. It was very hard, but we managed to keep Tom behind us.
Yeah, I think you were one of the earlier drivers to pit. I think you pitted on lap 9. Some of the cars behind you went a little bit later. Do you think maybe that would have been a smarter decision to not have to save as much tyres? Or do you think it wouldn't really have made much difference?
To be honest, I had no race on this track, so I didn't know when we pit or something. So I was just doing lap 9, and I think that was the wrong decision, because when you're not tire saving, then you're much faster. So I think Tom did the right decision, and I think he got spun or something, but yeah, GG's to him.
Yeah, any
Yeah,
questions from you?
Tom locked. Yeah, so Tom had actually locked up on the penultimate lap, and then actually got a penalty for cutting the first chicane. But just want to go back to the last lap with the defensive driving against Victor Garcia. Obviously, your tyres were nearing the end of life. Was it incredibly difficult to defend that? Because it looked perfect from our view, your defense.
Yeah, it looked perfect, but yeah, Tom crashed out, so Victor decided to push the ERS, and I had like 50 on the last lap, and it was not enough. So I had to make a absolutely amazing defensive. So yeah, I did it. I'm respectless.
Yep, but a strong result tonight here should see you jumping, I'm not exactly sure where, but somewhere near the top. Yeah, second, I guess, in the driver's standing. So things looking strong from your side. Next week, we are headed to Jeddah. Is that a track you think you're going to go well at?
I'm not quite sure. I hate turn 4 and the whole S's. So we will see. I need to practice for this track. So yeah, we will see.
Alright, well, best of luck to yourself and congratulations on the win here tonight, Nico.
Thank you, mates.
No problem. Alright, haven't heard anything. Well, we heard something in the chat, but we haven't seen them join the interview VC just yet.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, I expect we won't be hearing from the other two, but once again, another incredible race here, and probably the closest race for the win that we've seen so far. I mean, it's the first time we have actually had a battle, I think, for the win. Round 1 and round 2, the car who won kind of just drove off into the distance.
Yeah, I think Vegas Jeremy won by closer to 10 seconds than 5 seconds, and then it was pretty comfortable for Lennart last week. He did kind of back off in the last few laps to save the tyres. But yeah, less than a tenth over the line between Nico and Victor. But yeah, incredible, and I hope we can see the same again next week.
Yeah, so just before we do end things and head over towards the Tier 2 stream, they should be coming towards the end of their qualifying session. I just want to say a quick thank you to Next Level Racing and Grid Finder. If you are looking for a rig or some help with your leagues, make sure to head over there and they can get you sorted out. But yeah, incredible race here tonight once again. Tier 4 delivering as always. We will be back next week on... I don't actually know the date. 24th at 7 o'clock as always. And yeah, we will see you there for Jeddah. But now we will jump over to the Tier 2 broadcast. Go say hello to them. Make sure you leave a like, a follow, share as well, all that sort of stuff.
Subscribe.
Yep, that's the one. That's the YouTube one. Subscribe to the channel as well. But thank you for joining us here tonight, and we will see you all next week. Take care and bye for now.